Hey guys, it's Will with Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society, another coronavirus lockdown at home video, and it's a very momentous occasion because I have with me what is perhaps the most monumental single film set of a Hong Kong movie that I think I probably have, and it is the 88 films release of 1988's Dragon Forever. I almost said Dragon Forever because I was going to show off this. I had this old Hong Kong DVD that actually is singular. It's not Dragons Forever. It's just one Dragon Forever. So there you go. So here it is, Dragons Forever, and there's a lot to talk about with this release. So this just came out, I think, in March of 2020, and I'm going to go over all the bonus features on here, as I always do. I'm going to go over the physical presentation of the film. I'm going to talk about a couple reviews that I've read online because I am not an expert on the technical aspects of these things, but people who know a lot about the technical aspects of Blu-ray releases have in fact reviewed this, and I can put some links to that if you're on YouTube in the description of this video, but I'll talk a tiny bit about that, and then I'm going to talk about the bonus features, and I'm going to talk about some stuff. So I was reading on some forums about this film, trying to locate a couple of the reviews I had previously read that I wanted to reference, and I found some weird grumblings about 88 films. So I just thought I would address those because, as you know, I've reviewed a fair number of 88 films releases, and I have various others over here that I'm going to be reviewing soon. So I didn't realize that there was this kind of like subset of people who are cranky about what they put out. So I just thought I would kind of talk about some of the stuff that I saw and where I land on that. So in order to try to keep this not being a like 20 to 30 minute long video, I'm gonna try to go pretty quickly here. But here's the slipcase, and this is artwork by Kung Fu Bob, as always. R.P. O'Brien is his name, and so we have a reversible, and I actually did reverse the artwork this time because this is awesome. And one of the things that I read on the forums is that people are complaining about this, and it's like this is an original poster from like. If you're complaining about this, you need to go fucking complain to Golden Harvest because 88 Films did not make this. Like, hello, like, but people were like, "Oh, it makes it look like a comedy, and it's like an action comedy," and it's like, what do you fuck? If you've seen the movie, what do you care? Honestly, why does it matter? Like, okay, see, now I'm ranting. I'm sorry. So there's two discs here. That's one of the reasons that this is such a monumental release. There's three versions of the film, and there's two discs. So here's the booklet. You pull that aside, and there's the other disc, so you can see them both there. And then the reversible cover art, as you pull up here, and you see it's the Kung Fu Bob, whose real name I guess is R.P. O'Brien, artwork there, and he has outdone himself yet again. This is maybe my favorite cover that he's done for 88 films. And it's no slight to him that I reversed it. I just really love those old school, like 1980s Hong Kong movie posters. So when I saw that that was the reversible cover, I was like, yeah, I gotta do that one. Come on, that's awesome. So, and that way I have the best of both worlds, right? Because I have, and the slipcase is limited. I think it's like the first 3,000 will have the slipcase. But so the slipcase has the Kung Fu Bob artwork, so I get to have that and this, so I can have my cake and eat it too. And then we have the booklet. So the booklet has an essay in here, which is pretty interesting. It like a lot of the essays in the 88 Films releases, it historically contextualizes the film, but it also it talks about what they were trying to do with the making of the film. So it talks about, Jackie Chan coming off Police Story 2, Sammo Hung coming off of Eastern Condors, and how they had both kind of developed new styles and learned a lot of new things, and how this is kind of like a harder hitting film than they had done together before. It's like it does have a lot of comedy elements, and like the influence from the Three Stooges is really big here, but it also has more serious, like darker themes and action kind of set pieces, and so they wanted to develop a choreography style and a style of violence for the film that they thought would better fit the kind of the tone of the film. So here you have some of this, and this is like a really nice, it's like a matte finish booklet, so you don't, I mean, come on, how cool is this? Look at all these posters. You don't get like a ton of glare off of it, and it has like a really, I was really into books when I was a kid, and my parents both work in publishing, and so I grew up around books, and I worked at a publishing company myself, and I'm really into stuff like the texture of pages and like the presentation of books, the quality of publishing, and also, maybe this is creepy, but I really like the smell of printed material. It smells really good, so it gets bonus points from me for smelling nice. But also, like, it's like really nice paper, and it's like a very high quality. Here, I'm spending, like I said, I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on this review, and I was spending like 10 minutes just going through the booklet. You get the point. There's a lot of awesome. Hey, look who that is! It's Benny the Jet. A lot of awesome photographs and like posters and promotional material and stuff like that from around the world for the film. So, to get into the films that are on here, so there are 3 cuts of the film. Like I said, there's the standard Hong Kong cut. I'm going to refer to the lengths on here because I don't have it memorized, which is 94 minutes long. Then there's an export version, which Golden Harvest commissioned for like the international market, which is also 94 minutes long. And I believe that has, I think that's the classic English dub on that. There's a lot of audio tracks on here. And then you have the Cyclone Z, which is the Japanese version, which is 98 minutes long. And it has 2 extra scenes with Yoon Bu. And then and by the way, one of the really fun things about this release is I finally learned how to pronounce his freaking name. I've been calling him Yuen Biao because I don't speak any Cantonese. So I just looked at it and I was like, that sounds like how you would say that, Yuen Bu. So there you go. I learned something new from this release. And it's got 2 extra scenes with Yoon Bu, and then it has like the traditional kind of like Jackie Chan kind of thing with the ending credits where they show like outtakes and like bloopers and stuff like that. So the movie looks phenomenal. I watched like all the way through. I watched the Cyclone Z 98-minute Japanese version, which was really fun. And then I watched like the standard Hong Kong cut with the audio commentary on, and I watched like the first 5 minutes of the international one just to kind of check it out. But they all look incredible. Now, as I've said before, I'm not an expert at like the technical specifications of Blu-ray releases and things like encoding and stuff like that, bit rates, etc., etc. So I actually went and I read the DVD Beaver review, which goes into like they do screenshots of like bit rates, and they have these graphs on there showing various aspects of the audio and visual quality of each of the different cuts of the film, and they gave it really high marks. So from the perspective of people who are really into the technical aspects of DVD or Blu-ray releases, rather, this is a highly regarded release, at least as far as DVD Beaver is concerned. And I think that's from what I understand, that's a well-respected source. So there you have that, and that I will include a link to that. It's still weird for me looking at myself when I'm like I keep trying to control the insanity of my hair, but I'll put a link in the description of the video if you're watching on YouTube to where you can see that DVD Beaver review so that you can check out the screenshots and stuff if that's something that you're into. So to get into the special features, and I guess this is kind of a special feature, but the audio tracks. So we have, there's like the original Cantonese on here, and then there's also like remastered, so you can watch newly restored Cantonese mono or 5.1 options. So the 5.1 options are like the fancy, like kind of Dolby ones, and I watched it with both. As I said in my review of Hero Shed No Tears, which is over here somewhere, there it is. I really like those old sounding, like original mono language tracks because they remind me of like when I first watched these films on VHS or like in theaters or DVD or whatever. But it's also really nice to have like the new, really like the high quality audio if you want to watch it with friends who are audiophiles, or you want to just get a different experience. It's cool to have that too. So there's an insane number of bonus features on here, and there's what's really interesting to me about the bonus features is that they kind of focus on the culture around the 3 dragons, the Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, Yoon Bu, and like that Golden Harvest, like all of that. Like there's interviews with stunt performers and like fight choreographers who have worked with Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung and Yoon Bu and know them personally. There's an interview with Benny Urquidez, who is in this film, and he's on the cover here, and he was also in Wheels on Meals, and he's like a kickboxing and karate champion, like world champion. And there's a really great like 30-minute long, basically like mini documentary about Billy Chow, who is right here. and is in a bunch of amazing Hong Kong films and was like a champion kickboxer. And he's was originally from Hong Kong, moved to Canada, and when he was in Canada, Sammo Hung was there filming a movie and found out about him and called him and was like, "Are you interested in being in movies? Like, we know you're like a champion kickboxer or whatever." And he was like, "Okay." And Billy Chow has like a lot of great recollections of working with Jackie, working with Sammo, what it was like being on the sets, like what their different working styles are. Benny Urquidez too, in his interview talks about, specifically he and Billy Chow in their respective interviews, both talk about working on Dragons Forever. So what it was like to work with all of the actors there, like what Sammo Hung's directing style is like, being on the set, kind of things like that. There's also a I'm just gonna pick this up to remember the guy's name, Andy Cheng, I believe his name is, who is a stunt performer and also occasional, like he plays small roles in like Jackie Chan films, like he was in um, Rush Hour 1 and 2. I think he may have been in Gorgeous and or Mr. Nice Guy. He did stunts in both of those films, and he still does stunts on like high profile movies. He did Six Underground, the Michael Bay movie for Netflix that has Deadpool in it. What's his name? Ryan Reynolds. So, and I watched the opening like 20 minutes of that movie upon like a friend's recommendation. They're like, you got to just check out the opening action sequence, and it is genuinely insane. I don't like Michael Bay, and the script didn't. It's interesting. Like I only watched 20 minutes, but you could really tell through the dialogue and the setup that the script was not interesting to me. Like I could see where it was going, and it didn't appeal to me. But the action, like that opening action sequence, is just it's insane and definitely worth watching. So and he was involved in that. So there's this like 30 or 35 minute interview with him, and he talks a lot about that. Brad Allen, who has worked a lot with Jackie Chan, I think he was also in Gorgeous and maybe Mr. Nice Guy or Who Am I? I think he was in Who Am I. He's Australian, and so he got into like kung fu and acrobatics because of Jackie Chan, basically, as he talks about. And he went up to Hong Kong and he was able to meet Jackie, and Jackie asked him if he wanted to spar with some people on his stunt team, and he like eventually got into the stunt team and was in these movies and stuff like that. So one of the impressions I really got from watching this is that Jackie and Sammo are really, really, well, I guess they were really open to finding new talent, and were like genuinely nice people who wanted to work with people who loved filmmaking and who loved doing stunts and stunt coordination and stuff like that. So I mean that's kind of, I think, a good amount about the bonus features. The thing that I really have to talk about that was my favorite thing about this, probably other than just having this film and like this amazing presentation, was the audio commentary. So the audio commentary comes yet again from Mike Leader, who is like a veteran of the Hong Kong film industry. He's done some producing, he's done some casting, I think he's done some writing, and he's done acting, like voice acting, and also he's appeared in stuff. And I mean, he, just hearing his stories, like he knows all of these guys. Like he's worked a lot with Jackie, he's worked a lot with Sammo. He worked once with UMBU on like a TV show for Japan, something like that. So he talks a little bit about that. But he's lived in Hong Kong for like 30 years, maybe. And he's just like the real deal. Like he knows the business in and out, and he knows all these people, and he knows the city. And then Arna Venema, who is like a filmmaker, and I think he's also actually a DJ, based on like what I've seen on Instagram. We follow him on Instagram. I think he like makes music too, which is pretty fun, like synthesizer type music. But the two of them are like obviously good friends, and they have like a really great rapport. So it's like a very funny commentary to listen to, but the experience and the knowledge that they have absolutely cannot be replicated. So like, there are film scholars who have done really interesting audio commentary tracks, and I'm actually going to talk about one in a video I do soon on the wherever it is, 8 Diagram Pole Fighter release right here. But you can't replicate like what these guys have, which is the knowledge and experience of actually doing and seeing these things. To give you examples, like every single scene, there's a person in the movie that Mike Leader has stories about, like, oh, I was in a commercial with that guy. Or like the thing that blew my mind maybe the most was that Sing Fui On, whose name I thought was pronounced Sing Fui On, Sing Fui On, I think is how you say it. He was actually Mike Leader's village head, or like village chief, and he knew him like pretty well. And he like talks about, and that guy's in like everything. So when I think of him, I think he's in some John Woo movies. But I especially think of Final Justice, because he plays like the lead villain in that. He's usually like a henchman, and he has this very kind of like evil henchman type look. And apparently he was actually involved in some like illicit activities with the Triads or something. But he's awesome, and he's like a total one of these, like, he's not like the lead, in a movie, but he's one of these people who's in everything, and so he's like kind of like a legend of Hong Kong cinema because of that. And like, I mean, every scene they just have stories about these people and working with them and knowing them, and like that, so Corey Yun is credited as having co-directed this movie or being like a second director or something like that. And I didn't really know what that meant. He's directed a ton of stuff. So like he directed Yes Madam, and he directed like stuff with Jet Li, like My Father is a Hero, and he directed Above the Law with Yoon Bu, and so he's like a very well established director. And basically, as Mike Leader explains it, like this was absolutely Sammo's movie, but Sammo let people direct like individual scenes and stuff. This obviously, like when Sammo's in the movie, somebody has to be kind of directing behind the camera and stuff like that. And so, the Fruit Chan, who's I think pretty well known to fans of Hong Kong cinema, is was one of the assistant directors on this. And so there's like Mike Leader kind of like and Arna Venema kind of speculate about like maybe this was the scene they let Fruit Chan direct because it kind of looks like his stuff. And like it's just like the whole movie, there's just like throughout the whole movie as they talk, there's so much awesome information, like anecdotes, and it's like there are audio commentaries where people will for every actor in a movie they'll list their credits, right? But they very clearly just read them on IMDb or like looked them up in a book or know them from having watched the films. Like these guys actually know these people. There's even a part where they talk about, there's like the boat scene in Dragons Forever. They talk about land reclamation in Hong Kong and like, it used to take 12 minutes to get across the harbor, but now it takes 8. And like that bit that you can see over there is not water anymore. It's part of this neighborhood. And the restaurant where Jackie Chan has the fight in the beginning of the film is actually in the same neighborhood that Mike Leader lives in. So he talks about going to that restaurant and like it's still there, it still looks like that. But Arna Venema talks about how he thinks of this as like a capsule or like timepiece film because it really captures Hong Kong in a way that it doesn't exist anymore. So that audio commentary and the 3 versions of the film alone are like worth the price of admission for me. Absolutely. I loved it, and I've really liked their other audio commentary tracks before. They're on Crime Story, which I have right here, which their audio commentary on Crime Story is great too. But this was like, it was like one of the best audio commentaries I've listened to in a really long time. So I really, really enjoyed it. So the one other thing I wanted to touch upon, as this video gets way too long, is the grumblings about the 88 Films as a company, right? So I read some forums about people who were bummed that Eureka did not get the permission to release this film, which I have right here, and how they wish that Eureka was able to do it. And they were talking about like, oh, Eureka uses this type of program, which provides this type of whatever non-compressed audio. I was like, okay. Like, go buy a freaking film. I'm sorry, I'm being mean because I know this is a Blu-ray review, right? So it's like about people, for and about people who want like high quality releases, and I am one of those people. But like, I like movies because I like movies, not because I want to impress people with my 4K TV, 96-inch screen, and my surround sound system, and like bring them over and be like, look at this amazing quality release. It's like it's the movie, right? And like, it's important to have a really, I think, high quality release of the film, but the degree to which people are complaining about 88 Films versus Eureka, and I can't even speak to Eureka because I haven't seen any of their releases of Jackie Chan films. It's like nitpicky in the extreme, to be honest with you, because I would argue that 90% of people in the world, maybe even closer to 99% of people in the world, cannot tell the difference. And like I said, DVD Beaver gave this really high marks, but then they were also complaining about 88 Films not having great bonus features. And like, I get that, there's no interview with Jackie Chan on here, there's no interview with Sammo Hung, but like that stuff exists and you can go and see that stuff, and like it's on YouTube, and like to me that doesn't make or break the release. Like the thing that's really interesting about this release to me is that I kind of exist in a vacuum with Hong Kong cinema. Like obviously I love these movies, but like not a lot of my friends do. Like some of them do, but not a lot of them do. And so I am never really sure of a film's reputation outside of my own impression of it and what I'm able to read online. So to see all of these people who are like peripherally involved in these films and who are in the industry or got into the industry because of Jackie or Sammo, to hear their impressions of the film and that they reiterate my impressions of the film, to me is like it's like being a part of this community and being a part of this people who are trying to preserve and prolong the legacies of these films. And so that's really, really cool to me. So there you go. So my name is Will. This has been Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. I have been talking about the 88 Films release of Dragons Forever. Top marks for me. I think this is an incredible release. Amazing bonus features. Like I said, the audio track is incredible. 3 versions of the film. I don't know what else you would want, and I think a lot of the grumblings that I've read online are honestly just kind of stupid and entitled. Because like you really have, it's like extreme first world problems to be nitpicking that kind of stuff. Let's be honest with ourselves. So my name is Will. Like I said, Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. We will see you next time.